And welcome, everybody, to another glorious episode of the Put on Raiders podcast. I'm your host, Dwayne Douglas, and I am podcasting off the beautiful shores of the Pacific Ocean. Beautiful day, beautiful night, crisp night out here in Southern California. My partner is Ryan Holmes. Ryan Holmes is also on these same shores. Ryan, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. It's definitely a beautiful night. The heat wave's gone. It's 72 degrees outside right now. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I had some steaks on the grill after a hot day in the sun at Petco Park. Good day. It was a good day. It was a good day. Not the result I wanted today, but it was still good. It was still good. Still fun. It's still one of the top 5 parks to go to watch a game with the family. If you have a family, especially if you have kids, Petco's a good park for that. Pittsburgh is a good spot to go win a football game. That's always a good spot. It wasn't the disappointment of last time the Raiders were there and they were, the seam pass he threw to Crabtree. And I remember that was just great to see that back and forth. But at least they have the ability to now win these games defensively. The Raiders were fantastic. We can probably start there, but the impact that Gus Bradley's had, everybody's buying in, and it just seems like everybody's on the same page defensively. And the only way that Pittsburgh even got any deep passes completed was on push-offs.
Yeah, twice. Those 2 balls down the field, one to Johnson, one to Claypool, both could have been penalties on the Steelers. But, Gus Bradley has been a tremendous pickup for the Raiders. That defense. Now, I'm still hesitant. I don't think they're going to finish top 10 or 12, but they're going to be somewhere in the middle of the pack when all's said and done. Baltimore did have some key injuries. Pittsburgh's offensive line, it's kind of a mess right now. But at the end of the day, they're taking care of business. And this game, as a Raiders fan, it wasn't as close as the final score said. They basically dominated this game.
No.
Pittsburgh didn't move the ball much. They got off the field on 3rd down.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing you're seeing is the coordination between the rush and then the back end. So, I know the pass rush is getting all the accolades right now, and that's great. I don't know when the last time, the Raiders had a pass rush you could count on. But let's not overlook that defensive backfield. Ron Miles is doing wonders with those guys back there, and he's working with a pair of rookies. And you've seen Trayvon Mullen's game step up. Casey Hayward's played fantastic. Abrams under control. I was texting you yesterday. I wanted to do a breakdown of Trayvon Moore. They never throw the ball at him. I tried. I watched every snap he took, and they're just not challenging him, which is a good thing because he's always where he's supposed to be. And the good thing with Gus Bradley, as you saw this week, last week it was cover 3, 95% of the time. And this week he came out, played some cover 3, and then he mixed it up. There were some cover 1s on 3rd downs, went to nickel package. And then when they got to the second half, he saw a lot more 2 high, a lot of cover 4. A couple snaps in cover 2, some cover 3, some cover 6. So it was good to see Bradley go into his bag and say, you know what, we're not going to let these guys figure this out. We're changing everything up in the second half. And it worked.
And I think, too, in this game, the most enjoyable thing in this game was when they did go deep. And Hayward could have easily had a couple of picks in this game. But there is no panic by the defensive back. There's no panic. They just play through the football cleanly, and they just complete the PBU. I mean, it's the way you should play corner. And we don't know if it's gonna. I mean, listen, they're gonna get challenged. They're gonna have ups and downs during the season. It's 17 games, but that was probably the most enjoyable thing for me. That I could actually. I didn't hold my breath every time the ball went down the field because I was just like, they're going to, felt pretty good that they were going to make the right play. And Casey Hayward he's shown why, if he could just stay, he had some cramps in this game and was in and out of the ball game, Ryan, but it was good. Him being in the game and hopefully it rubs off on, David Arnett, who had a nice PBU, but then, kind of made a mistake by not touching a guy who caught a football down the 40 yards on the football field. But it looks like, the influence of, it seems like Bradley got his guys along with the Raider guys he likes. But if you look at it, it's at every level of the defensive unit. He has people on the defensive line. He has people on in the defensive line, in the linebacker room, and people in the secondary where he can talk to, where a teamer can talk to players about what to do. He's not playing. You have Hayward there as well. I think that's the biggest thing. He has like maybe mini coaches there in those moments, because players have a big influence on other players as well.
No, definitely. And as you mentioned, in every position group there is, you have, Jefferson and Philon are in the defensive line meetings. They know. KJ Wright's played for him. Denzel Perryman, Yannick Ngakwe's in that defensive end room. Casey Hayward's on the back end. And the biggest thing too, and you can see it a lot, watching the All-22, is the communication between the secondary and the alerts based on the formations. You can see those guys talking, and they're just not blowing assignments. Guys aren't running free in the secondary. And that's a big contrast to what we've seen the last 5 to 10 years. And to me, gone are the days of the Stanford routes, the Ron Bartels, the Shante Spencers. We'll go back to the Reggie McKenzie early days when I got fired up for those two guys, the DJ Haydens. There's no panic. When the ball's in the air, these guys aren't grabbing and pulling. There's not a lot of pass interference. You're not seeing it. Mullen is playing very well. As far as this game against Pittsburgh, he played very well in his cover three responsibility, staying on top of the route. There was that ball down the sideline coming out of the end zone when he was covering Claypool. Really good press bail technique, stayed on top, and then he high pointed the ball against Claypool, which I thought was great. It was a really good rep. I highlighted it on one of my Twitter breakdowns on Twitter, one of the videos. But Casey Hayward, I don't know what he's telling these guys, but these corners are playing really well. Even Arnett, as bad as that play was, he did get pushed off. He forgot to touch the guy down. He had a couple nice reps in man coverage.
Yeah,
he broke up a slant. I thought he was going to pick that out. He probably could have.
I think he went with the one hand. If he went with both hands, I think
it's an interception.
It's an interception, and he can. And if you watch some of his highlights from Ohio State, Arnett, he can take it back to the house. He's done that a couple of times. So you got so you can definitely see that. Here's one of the breakup the Casey Hayward breakups coming up here soon. But the defense has been that good. And has been really that good. And it's, I can't say as advertised because only we've been advertising it. Nobody else has been advertising it. And even us, we kind of take a wait and see attitude about it. But leading the league here is something that I love. Leading the league in pressures. I mean, not Carolina, not Tampa Bay. Like the Raiders lead the league in pressures, and you saw on that Trayvon Mullen interception. Yannick Ngakoue he made a beeline for the quarterback. Faked outside, came back inside, and really put the heat on Ben Roethlisberger there. And that was that play right there that forced the interception and the overthrow. And
if you've noticed, both Crosby and on that play, Ngakoue beat a double team. Yes. And it didn't matter. I know it's Najee Harris. I know he's a rookie, but wherever he was going to chip and double team, he was getting beat, whether it was Crosby or Ngakoue. And, Yannick, he fought through this one. He only played 27 snaps. He missed basically a bunch of snaps in the second and third quarter, but came back down the stretch in the fourth quarter to get some heat. He clearly wasn't 100%, but he fought through it. But no, the defense, and, Lamar Jackson's not the best pocket passer in the league. We know that. They got pressure on Ben Roethlisberger with a bad line, who's a statue. We know that. Mm-hmm. Let's see what happens when and Jacoby Brissett this week's probably not going to be a challenge either. Let's see if they can do it against the Chargers with Herbert, who's mobile, who has a better line. Can they get pressure on Baker Mayfield? Cleveland's got a good line. Can they get pressure on Patrick Mahomes? Those will be the real tests. So far at this point, they're taking advantage of some opportunistic situations. And this week they're going to have another one. Miami's offensive line's in shambles, and Brissett holds the ball just as long as anyone in the league. But he is a veteran. I fully expect Miami to go to the short passing game, hit some underneath routes and check downs, and move the ball, because that's what you have to do against this defense. But for the most part, if the Raiders can keep the ball in front of them and make teams go, I can't believe I'm saying this, make teams go 12 to 15 plays and move the ball down the field, they're going to be successful. And a lot of quarterbacks aren't going to have the patience to do that. And so far, we've seen them not do that. But as long as they just don't give up those explosive plays over the top, because their offense is going to put points on the board.
Yeah. They're very, 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 very true about all those things. What were the third down efficiency of just being able to get off the field has been something that has been a joy to watch as well. Like just being able to be third. It's not 3rd and 15. Hold your breath in Denver and then give up a 90-yard touchdown pass to Jerry Jeudy. Where nobody actually physically touches him. And that it's not any of those. I mean, they really are doing a good job of keeping plays in front of them and getting off the field in this Gus Bradley defense here as far as that goes. Defensive line. I think also Perryman is playing well as well.
Very well.
I mean, very well. I mean, he is just like, I guess he couldn't lose. He was in Carolina. They're 3-0 now, and the Raiders are 2-0. So wherever he was, especially in this defense, he's been playing fantastic. So I love to see I love to see what I'm seeing from them with Perryman and that group of linebackers, and they're not even fully healthy at linebacker yet. The Raider offense now we know about the good old fat. I mean, John wants to run the football, but right now they just can't do it unless they. I think they're go. You saw in this game that they switched it up and kind of they inside zone is what they want to do, but they went to power in this game, and they got some runs late in the game when the game was pretty much over. Do you feel like that's something that they're going to continue to do? Is because they kind of have to do because they can't do. You got to kind of improvise here until you get all the pieces back. The Raiders running power here against the Dolphins.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to, just based on those interior three guys. That's what Illuminor, Simpson, and James at this point want to do. James isn't great at it, but there's been a lot of miscommunication, I feel, watching the film on those double teams, on which guy is supposed to leave when. The timing's not right. They're not getting to the second level on those zone runs. And then when there are holes, the running backs are missing them. Kenyon Drake missed a couple. Peyton Barber missed one. They're not trying to run the ball outside. You're not seeing a lot of stretch plays or anything, or even outside zone at this point. They really miss Josh Jacobs with the zone game. And if he's going to be out, and if he misses this week, I expect him to go back to a lot more power, because that suits the linemen that they have in the lineup right now. I do like the fact that John was like, or Gruden basically said, we're not even going to try to run the ball today. They had, 6 carries in the first 2 or 3 quarters. And it was like, you know what? We're going to go short passing. We're going to let Derek Carr, we're going to spread him out. And we're just going to get the ball out of his hands. And they moved it around. The distribution was tremendous. No one had more than 7 targets. 3 or 4 guys had 7. There was a guy with 6, a guy with 5, and he kept everyone involved. And they didn't just say, Ruggs wasn't just doing cardio this week. They hit him on a quick flat route. They hit him on a couple underneath routes. They let him run a dig. It wasn't just post and go routes.
My favorite, obviously the knife in the back is the dagger is the Al Davis special. You love that one at the end, but the dig route, that was almost like a little, like, because at Bama, he did run some slants and stuff like that. And you see him just go to the house. He was a step. I could see him later in the season more confident in that route and being able to just go and just take it to the house, because he was slippery in the open field and almost took that all the way to almost got the edge, almost got the corner, and was able to go all the way to the end zone on that one. But to see the variety in which the Raiders are moving the football and getting the ball to Ruggs in those different kind of ways, that's what we want to see. Him and Edwards. Edwards' touchdown got called back for, I don't know, because Leatherwood blinked. I'm not sure how that was even a play, but at least both of those guys are, and I think are contributing, Ryan. And I think the good thing about it is, like, you know what, get the veteran. I love what Nelson Aguilar did last year, but get the veteran out of here. So it's forced. Like we had no choice. But so you can't go to Waller and Renfro all the time. They have to get the ball to Ruggs and Edwards, and it's going to benefit the Raiders down the road.
And don't forget Foster Moreau got involved in this game in the red zone, which is what we've been asking. We've been asking for Moreau and Edwards in the red zone. We saw it.
What a pass too on that play.
And you saw the Steelers. Their game plan was, we're going to double Waller. Wherever he goes, if he's to the single side and the 3-by-1, we're going to roll a safety over there, and we're going to double him. And that's essentially kind of what happened on the big Ruggs play down the field. But now if you're Miami, if you're the Chargers coming up, you can't just say, we're going to go into this game and we're going to double Waller. You have to figure out, okay, what's our plan for Ruggs? What's our plan on these choice routes with Renfro? What are we going to do with Moreau on the backside of some of these formations? What are we going to do with Edwards? Oh, wait, we have to stop the run. If the Raiders can get the run game going this week, which
It's over.
I don't know if they can without Jacobs based on what we saw last week, but they're not even clicking on all cylinders yet. And they went on the road and put up 26 on Pittsburgh, who basically dominated Buffalo, who's one of the top offenses in the league. So Gruden definitely is dialing up some different route combinations out of those bunch formations. I love the bunch formations on third and medium because you can just run choice and looky out of that, and you have no idea which guy is running the choice route. The big thing about that, it's usually Waller or Renfro, but when you're in the point and both of those guys are there, you don't know. And then even on the Ruggs, if you go back and watch the Ruggs dig route, Waller was running a choice route on the outside of him. They were lined up on the same side of the field. And the corner had to keep outside leverage in case Waller broke out, and that's what allowed Ruggs to get to the inside. The safety, Fitzpatrick, was back deep in case Ruggs ran vertical. And then Edwards was running a shorter in route on the other side when he held the strong safety. So Gruden's definitely dialing up some looks. And I'm going to give a lot of credit to Derek Carr, too, because he's getting multiple plays at the line of scrimmage. Based on the coverages, he's calling the right plays at this point in the season. So hopefully that can continue. The offensive line wasn't great throughout that game, but they're making it work. John Simpson just got absolutely manhandled by Cam Hayward for a majority of that game. But it didn't lead to a lot of bad negative plays that forced the Raiders out of drives. They were able to convert. The biggest thing for them going forward is to avoid the holding penalties. They seem to be getting called for quite a bit of holding penalties, especially Leatherwood. And if you do watch the all-22 angle, he did hold Ingram on that touchdown to Edwards. He kind of got his left hand up inside from the back. You can see him pull him. You can't see it from the end zone cam that they showed on CBS, but he did hold him. Leatherwood really struggled in this game. And thank God Brandon Parker came in and was serviceable. That's all we can ask for. Brandon Parker
came through.
He got
listen in spot duty.
He got pushed around his first couple snaps, but then he settled in.
Yeah, and spot duty, he can do a little bit. Can be okay. As far as that goes. So yeah, it was.
Well, thank God TJ Watt wasn't playing, because if I don't know if I wanted to watch a whole half of Brandon Parker try to block TJ Watt, but he didn't have to.
No, he didn't have to. And I'm sure people who are on the negative part of it. But I mean, listen, we don't have pieces either. You're never going to be 100% healthy in the NFL season. So it's almost like, what position group are you gonna get hurt in? It seems like it's always almost an entire position group, right? Every time that happens in National Football League. I mean, for the red zone, they had that. I think I forgot what I don't know if it was a pass to I don't know if it was a pass to I don't know if it was a pass to Drake who set up a goal line situation, but then immediately you had Colton Miller who should not be kind of messing up on that goal line. And the Raiders had to kind of had to troll backwards, and then you get a hold on Leatherwood. Still worried about that line in those moments there, because I think that this was a game too where, I mean, Derek was getting his TB12 QB sneak game on this one. This was the best Derek QB sneak game I've ever seen.
Thank God that they did that twice. They didn't, 3rd and 1 last year, the Raiders were horrendous, and they weren't great week 1. So just get the first down. I don't mind the sneak on 3rd and 1. And the good thing is they didn't line up with a 0 technique right over the head of Andre James. They actually, they had a 3 technique and a 1 technique. So there was a gap there between the guard and the center to where he could just hike it and basically dive forward. And I think you're going to see that a little bit more if the Raiders struggle in these short yardage situations. Surprisingly, through 2 weeks, no spider 2 wide banana. I haven't seen it. I keep looking for it on film. I haven't found it. So it's in his bag. It's coming. It might be this week. It might be next week. But if they can't run the ball on 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 2, we're going to see some spider 2 wide banana before long.
Yeah. Do you any concern about, like, they have plays. They definitely have plays, kind of ready to go. to score in the first half of these games. They're not getting to that 20-point mark. They're not getting to that 20-point mark until the fourth quarter. I know the first quarter can be kind of a feel out, but I think there's still points on the board. It'd be nice this week to get the points on the board.
Yeah, kind of just from my perspective, watching these games over again from multiple angles and you've seen it both weeks. I think Gruden's coming out with Carr, and they're kind of just testing the defense, trying not to nothing catastrophic, no turnovers, don't try to force the ball down the field, and they're kind of just trying to feel them out. What coverages are we going to get? Yeah. What are they doing on third down? They're not moving the ball quite as efficiently, but the best thing to me is the adjustments they're making at halftime, and they're coming out in the second half, and they're throwing the ball down the field, and they're taking advantage of what they saw early in the game, and they're making adjustments. It's year 4, and we can finally say the Raiders are making halftime adjustments, and they're second. The third quarter, if you remember, for Gruden the last couple of years has been bad. They haven't scored points in the third quarter, but not this year.
Yeah,
There's something clicking between Gruden and Carr, and they're figuring out how to take advantage of what teams are showing them. And then the teams aren't adjusting back, and then they're basically just putting up point after point after point in the second half.
Your favorite part of this play?
My favorite part of this play is that he actually threw the ball down the field and anticipated Ruggs being there and didn't throw it to Renfrow, and he gave the guy a chance. And because you're going to have to take those shots, and the more Derek takes these shots, the more the stuff's going to open up for Waller and Renfrow underneath, because teams are going to have to respect it. And you saw there was a couple other plays in this game. One where Watt in the first half caused a strip sack. Ruggs was open down the seam. If Derek has, another half second, it's a touchdown. And the teams aren't really respecting him right now on these deep routes. Now they're going to have to, because Derek hasn't really thrown it to him, other than that Chiefs game last year, or the Hail Mary down the sideline against the Jets to win that game against cover 0. But if teams are going to rotate safeties down to cover Waller, or use a robber to take away the stuff in the middle with Renfrow, Ruggs is going to eat on the outside if they throw him the ball and let him create separation.
Because thinking about Miami, they got the two corners on the outside who can really play. Byron Jones and Howard. They're great. They're really good in man coverage. But like, when the ball is in the air, and you talked about it when you saw the Rams practice, with the Raiders practice against the Rams, he just has another gear. Like, it's just like it just lights up. Like, he knows he's getting the ball. And I thought this early success where they had a deep pass, like his deep passes were integral parts of the Raven game. Another deep pass was an integral part of the Steeler game. Like, this is becoming a thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if he does it again this week against a couple of top corners, it'll become a thing, So that's what we all want to see. And we all, I also love, listen, Edwards had a ball on the left side where it was like the guy is draped all over him. He just shrugs them off and then just gets 13 yards on that play. Like, those are the kind of, getting the ball deep to Ruggs, and then giving those tough, kind of like those Michael Crabtree plays to Brian Edwards is kind of what we expected when they got drafted. And if you have that along with 83 and Rugg, and Renfrow, that's just like, it's going to be difficult if he gets any kind of protection. It's hard to deal with the Raiders right now. It's just, and it's not like a cocky thing, but it's difficult because you have two teams who are really good defensive coordinators who couldn't deal with the Raiders here.
It's also going to lead to some pass interferences and some big plays down the field. We saw that to Edwards in the Ravens game. So even if they don't complete these passes, they're going to have a better than not chance of getting a flag that's going to be just as good.
Yeah.
But then you have, flipping it forward to Miami just real quick. Miami runs a lot of exotic cover 0 blitzes. They like to bring the house, play cover 0. Are they really going to be able to do that this week? You're going to play cover 0 with Ruggs and Waller on the field? I don't know if they are. And what is their plan for Waller? Last year they tried Eric Rowe. That didn't work. Waller ate in that game. So do they move Byron Jones inside? Who's going to cover Edwards and Ruggs? And who's going to cover Renfrow on the inside? Oh, when they figure that out, who's going to cover Foster Moreau? He might get 5 targets this week. And who's going to cover Kenyon Drake out of the backfield? He's been tremendous as a receiver and pass blocker. Yeah. He hasn't been a great runner, but he's been tremendous in the passing game.
8 different Raiders caught passes last week. So like that's the thing where his he wants to throw to the open guy. So like I mean he always wants to kind of please the coach and throw to the open guy. I mean if he keeps that up, I mean I could see the Raiders. This is a game where the Raiders need to kind of flex a little bit on this team.
And we talked about this in the offseason when everyone was crying about Nelson Aguilar going to the Patriots. They don't need Nelson Aguilar, and we've been saying this. They don't need him.
3, right?
Three. And he got what?
3 catches
11,
a game.
$12 million a year. Like,
oh my god. Real quick, I'm gonna look up.
What are his numbers in New England? I don't even know.
Yeah, Nelson. See, nobody even says stuff like that too. It's pretty funny how people will quickly kind of like put stuff out there and then never have any context to it.
Wait for Tanner Muse to make a tackle in Seattle. One tackle. We won't hear the end of it.
I know. Well,
Lynn Bowden Jr. caught 3 passes for 12 yards, and we're crying about it on Twitter.
Seriously, I can't believe it. It is pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Very Nation. The other side of it, but yeah, I think Flores and that organization. I think that owner really likes Flores. I think he likes the situation. I think he just hates the quarterback. That's why they're right. That's why they don't even. I think they don't even really care about all the Deshaun Watson stuff. I think they would trade for him right now. They would without even knowing what the deal is as far as him as a individual and how the NFL is going to kind of deal with his situation. So as far as that goes. Internet's acting a little slow, but I gotta find out what Nelson's doing. I'm sorry, I gotta find out what Nelson's doing.
And we haven't brought up the kicking game. I think Daniel Carlson's been tremendous. I think AJ Cole's been tremendous. Now the coverage units, not so good. It's something we were afraid of. Thank God Derek Carrier forced that guy back in the inside. So they made that tackle after about a 20-yard return that was going up the left sideline. John Abram did get pushed in the back on that on further review. They just didn't call it, but. And then the Raiders' return game hasn't been good. So special teams has been okay. There's definitely room to grow there. There's room to grow on the offensive line. There's room to grow on the running game. And if this running game gets going, that's going to open up play action too, because they can't really do that right. So this is basically and the biggest thing for me is the growth of Carr and Gruden's offense. Now it's 2 games. I'm not ready to crown him. We've seen this before in spurts. Can he do it for 17 weeks? But we've always said he needs an offensive line. He needs a running game. He needs a number one wide receiver. He doesn't have a lot of that right now.
To me, yeah, to me, that was always been my thing that I thought was stupid to talk about. Like he needs that. Like he doesn't. I think he had a really good year last year. I think they kind of tailed off at the end. It just was certain situations they did It was just, fumbling, all this, his fumbling, the receivers fumbling. Ruggs had some really bad fumbles in that Jet game. Had a fumble in that Jet game that was huge. That kind of brought everybody back. People were feeling good after they lost the game to the Kansas City instead of saying, "Damn, we blew a game in Kansas City against the Chiefs." So I think there's a lot of things there. But to me, it's never going to be perfect. Just work with what you have until you get as healthy as you can possibly be. That's all you can really do because Jacobs is not going to be 100%. Turf toe is going to be there for the whole year. We've all experienced it with Darren McFadden. So we already know that injury is going to be lingering for the whole year. So the offensive line, Richie is not going to play. So I'm not sure why. I mean, you mentioned earlier today about like him going on IR. That is something where like Richie needs to just be honest with John and be like, "Yo, you're not going to play, dude." Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they could who's the tackle they had last year who played like who would always get hurt, and Sam Young. Yeah. So Sam Young would always start and then just end up not getting through the first quarter. Like, I mean, it's just the way it is. So as far as that goes, Nelson Aguilar has 8 catches this year for about 100 yards and 1 touchdown.
So he's been okay. Hasn't been tremendous, but he's been okay. But
I mean, Ruggs got that. So I mean, like I said, three. I mean, like 7 targets, and basically break down. Give me 5 catches a game. He'll catch a bomb. He'll catch a bomb in that category.
And for clarification, incognito, I'm not saying put him on IR today. I'm saying they should have done it
Exactly.
To open up, for 3 weeks, they could have used someone else because he's clearly not going to play this week either.
No.
Especially with all the shuffling they've done on the offensive line. Now the depth is a question. For me, I'm not a big Lester Cotton guy. I didn't think he played well in the preseason. I know he's on he came up off the practice squad last week, but if he has to play in a game, they're going to be in trouble. If anything happens to Colton Miller this year, so they're teetering right now on some offensive line disasters coming. But I'll give credit to Tom Cable. I don't know what they did with Illuminor, but he's played fine. Parker looked okay for 2 quarters. Leatherwood needs to really pick it up. He struggled last week. I'm going to be honest. The film breakdown was not pretty. He is holding a little bit too much.
Good injury. Him being gone for the year is a tough blow. That was a tough blow. That was tough.
And then Simpson, he had spurts in the Ravens game. We were like, okay. And then just last week, and now Cam Hayward's an all-pro. He's a tremendous run defender. He had his way with Simpson. Simpson's technique's just not very good. He gets by with just being a big, strong guy that can maul guys in the running game right now. He can get, for a guy that's as big and strong as he does get bull rush rather easily, that I've noticed. So he's just going to have to work on some technique issues with Cable to shore that up. I thought Andre James was better this week than he was in week 1. It's still not great. It wasn't as bad. But there were some zone runs where he kind of just looked lost out there. So he's going to have to clean that up. So they have a lot of issues right now. Is
Zach Martin too light to play? I mean, he has experience at guard. Nick Martin. Is he too light to play guard and play?
No.
I
think in this system, in his own system, he can. You don't want him running power.
No.
Another 2-3 weeks of Andre James. I hate to say this, but if his play doesn't pick up, you could see the conversation of maybe we need to give Nick Martin some run here. I mean, he's been a starting center in this league. He has games under his belt, and just let James sit for a couple of weeks and try to work on things and just get a different perspective. But Andre James hasn't been anywhere near the player that they thought he was going to be when they gave him that contract extension, which to me was still shocking that they gave him that 3-year, $12 million extension when they could have just kept him on a rookie deal, an undrafted rookie deal for another 2 or 3 years. So we'll see. But having said all that, they're 2-0 and they're pushing the right buttons right now. I don't want to go too far off the tracks here, but you know what? If they're winning, just win, baby. At the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Yeah. I mean, that's the same thing I was thinking about too. Is with all the things that we worry about, and they're worrying about the same things. John is worrying about the same things. Mayock is worrying about the same things, as far as that goes. But yeah, they are just when they are winning games, and everybody's going through everybody's going through their pain with injuries, hamstrings, ACLs, all that stuff like that. And the Raiders are finding a way to win games. So I guess they gotta give them props for that. Any thing from Pittsburgh that before we go on to the Dolphins here?
Yeah, as far as Pittsburgh, I just think I just really like watching this defense. And I made another comment on Twitter, in the last couple of years when I do the film breakdowns, when I get to the defense, I should just cover my eyes and wait for the offense to get the ball back. But now it's fun. I can't wait for the defense to take the field so I can see what they're doing, can see how they're adjusting to things. I think Corey Littleton's getting a bad rap here by PFF football and then on the fans. He's tremendous in coverage. He knows his responsibilities. He can run with slot guys. He looks like a safety out there. Now, does he miss tackles? Yes. And that's something he didn't do with the Rams. Is he a great run defender? No. He missed that jet sweep to Juju that he should have made a stop that ended up being a touchdown. But he did fill some run lanes when he needed to. He is missing quite more tackles than he probably should. But when you watch the all 22 of this guy running down the field with slot receivers, dude, it's tremendous. And he's running stride for stride. And these aren't tight ends he's running with. These are NFL legit slot receivers. The 3 guys that Steelers run out there, and then Smith, Schuster, Claypool, and Johnson, and he's running. I don't know which guy it was off the top of my head trying to remember, but I'm assuming it was either Johnson or Smith Schuster. He's running stride for stride with them 30 yards down the field. And there's multiple plays like that. I'm getting people commenting it's one play, who cares? And it's if you want me to, I can show you 8 plays just like that.
And if I could tell Raider Nation that if Ryan puts it on his Twitter, it ain't one play. It's multiple. It's multiple. We go. We try. He dives deep. So as far as that goes, anyway, it was just I think I think a lot of things that were nice and about this game. It was number one, the NFL, the plan of the short week did not destroy them. I think that they could have easily been short week, overtime,
Injuries,
short week, overtime injuries could have been
and physical Ravens game.
And could have been the easy excuse to go to Pittsburgh and lose. They weren't having any of it. So I give them a lot of credit for that. They really should be given a lot of credit for, listen, some teams have, Jacksonville on their schedule, and the Jets on their schedule to start their season, Broncos. To start the season, but we have real football teams on our schedule, and they were able to win. They were able to win 2 games so far this year. Like I said, they had the 10 home games. I want to say 10 just because so far, but so they have a lot of opportunity here. So I mean, they have a string of home games here where you're gonna have a string of games here with the Raiders. If they keep, they're gonna be favored in a lot of these games. So can they handle prosperity? We'll have to see about that part of it. We did have a couple questions real quick. Why is it so important for the talking heads to call quarterbacks elite? I mean, and everybody's throwing around these elite from Dave from 718. I don't know. I mean, I guess this week Derek is elite. I don't really care about the word elite. I don't know. To me, he has to complete a season where he start to finish, or he bring the team to the playoffs. I'm not sure where the seeding is. I listened to Lincoln Kennedy, and Lincoln Kennedy is like, you know what? Don't write off the division. I think, I mean, like if the Chiefs are going to play defense like that, and you're kind of built to kind of contend with that team. You never know, injuries, a play here, a play there. You never know. Don't write off the division just yet. As far as that goes, we'll see about that part of it. But to me, I mean, I think they have to fill. I used to work in TV. Used to work at the Worldwide Leader. They got to fill airtime every single day. They have to have these lists and all these other stuff. But when you see a list, that means they have nothing to talk about. Who are the top 10 elite quarterbacks in the league, elite, whatever. It's just kind of a lazy narrative to my mind. They're not going to dig deep in a film. I mean, Stephen A. Smith is not watching all 22. I can guarantee you. We got tailor-made suits. He ain't watching all that. So, that's how I feel about it. I don't know how you feel about the word elite being thrown around all the time in the NFL by talking heads.
Yeah, for me, it goes back to the evaluation process. To me, I look at it like tiers, like, all right, top 10, middle 10, bottom 10. And then within that, you can talk about different tiers. But for me, the word elite is a no doubt franchise quarterback, a guy that's getting you to consistent AFC championship games, some Super Bowl appearances, and winning rings. So for me, there's not
an opportunity. An opportunity to win a ring that year.
Conversation is very small.
Yes,
there's probably four guys in the league that you can say, yeah, these guys are elite. And those guys are no doubt going to the Hall of Fame. At this point in Derek Carr's career, let's be honest, he's not a Hall of Famer. He hasn't earned that right yet. No. Not saying that he might not. He's going to have to play really well for the next 5, 6, 7 years. But for me, he's not elite. And to me, and like you said, they're filling airspace on radio. They want clicks online. We're so used to fantasy football and rankings and points and this and that. It's just another thing to talk about. Yeah. To me, I just care about wins. Like when Derek Carr is going to get in that conversation when the Raiders go to the playoffs and they win playoff games. Yes. Then we can have that conversation.
When they win a couple of games and you're sitting here on Championship Sunday and you see them and you see them run out the tunnel. I don't care if it's in Allegiant or anywhere any other, and it's one game. They have to win this one game to go to the Super Bowl. That's when you'll know about that part of it. And another question was from a 312 from a 323 from Dave. Wants to know, I'm a Raider fan and a USC fan like you guys. Who do you feel like will be the best person for the SC job? I have no idea. Right now, I'm so involved with the Raiders. I mean, I want somebody young. I can say who I don't want. I don't want Urban Meyer. So I'll let you know about that. Dion Sanders, I think Dion Sanders should probably. I know that's a lot of talk about. Everybody wants Dion Sanders to go to USC. I think he can handle the whole thing and be a whole spectacle. But I think he's doing great work down there with the historically black colleges. I mean, if he's happy down there, he should stay down there. What do you
See,
think?
this is a tough one. I had this conversation with someone this afternoon, actually,
Oh, there you go.
and I'm kind of in the same place you are. I'm a no on Urban Meyer, just because to me, how long is he going to be there? And
He's a
if he
quitter.
leaves if he's going to leave the Jaguars after 1 year, who's to say he won't do that? USC. For me, they need the biggest criteria they need a guy that has cachet, that can recruit, that's going to go in and get the kids in Southern California, in the inner city in LA, go back and win Modern Day High School, go back and win Sarah High School, get those guys to stay there and go to USC. They don't need to go to Clemson or Alabama or Ohio State.
No.
So even a minority hire, I think, would be an advantage here. And for me, Eric Bieniemy's name's coming up, and if he's not in the conversation for NFL head coaching jobs, and granted, I don't think USC is going to wait that long, but if you're Eric Bieniemy, and I know he's had some issues in the past at Colorado, but are you going to wait for another NFL opportunity, or are you going to say, you know what, I'm going to take a premier program that I'm going to have resources, that I'm going to have a recruiting base to build on?
Yeah.
The name James Franklin comes up, and for me, I'm not sure James Franklin can come in and win over the Southern California kids and get them to stay home quickly. I know he's done it in Pennsylvania, but recruiting
over time, it would take time.
It took time.
It took time.
And then to me, you got to have some fun on offense. They have to be creative and they have to score points. This needs to be the Showtime Lakers. USC needs to be the Showtime Lakers, where they're going out every week and they're dominating.
Flash.
And I'm not sure James Franklin's that guy. Hopefully, if they hire him, I'm completely wrong, because I would love nothing more than for USC to be a national power again. But it all starts on the recruiting trail. Whoever it is has to be an A+ recruiter who can go into a house after Dabo Swinney, Nick Saban. At this point, Mario Cristobal is doing wonders at Oregon, and you're going to have to compete with those guys. Clay Helton had no interest in doing that, and that's obvious based on some of the recruiting classes and the guys they're producing, and just the number of guys they're having drafted. It's amazing how the talent well dried up so quickly.
Yeah, it really it has, and I am as frustrated. Was it from the So I am, Dave. I'm as frustrated as you are. We are frustrated as you are as what USC has been doing. So we'll see what happens. I know another guy I don't want, Jack Del Rio. All right, pass. Hard pass on Jack Del Rio going back home.
The other name that's interesting, and I'll throw this out there for Dave. What about Joe Brady? He was at LSU. They won it out. I know he has no head coaching experience. That would be the one drawback. But he could probably put a staff together. He's young. He's got a good offensive mind. He's doing wonders in Carolina in year 2 over there with Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold looks like a totally different player this year than he did last year. Joe Brady want to be a head coach at an elite college program, or does he want to be an offensive coordinator for the Panthers? I don't know, because Matt Rule's kind of in place there, and I don't think a lot of NFL teams are ready to come knocking after Joe Brady yet.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how far maybe the Carolina Panthers go, but yeah, I definitely would figure that was the name I was thinking about as I was watching the Panthers beat the Texans tonight. I was definitely thinking about that name, and he would be a name that would bring some cachet. And I'm sure a guy like that has a bunch of names in his Rolodex, if you will, to be assistants if you ever get a head coaching job. We're going from Pittsburgh to Miami here. The Dolphins, this is where the defensive line again should be able to eat. You got Jacoby Brissett there. Even Paul Gunther beat Jacoby Brissett a couple years ago. A couple years ago. So I was hoping that can happen again. I do like some of the skill position players that they do have in Miami, but I don't think he's gonna be able to get them the ball. I think this is a game where forcing a turnover, a defensive score might be a possibility here with them. And you mentioned to me that hey, on the underneath stuff, he's going to take that stuff. You got to gang tackle and try to get the ball out, all those things like that. I think they're going to try to play as safe as possible and hang on defensively if they can. But this whole situation, the Raiders offensively should be on the field a whole lot in this ball game. I don't know how the Dolphins are going to stay on the field, Ryan?
Yeah, for me, looking at this game, the guys in the desert know something. This is a 4-point spread, even after the news of
It's terrifying
two and not playing. To me, we're going to learn a lot about the Raiders. It's a great opportunity for them to be 3-0 in the AFC, but bigger than that, 3-0 against potential wild card teams with tiebreakers on them and having a better conference record as well. For me, if this Raiders team is legit, they're going to come out, put up 10, 14 points in the first quarter, make Miami one-dimensional, and then get after it. The flip side is if this game stays, if the Raiders can't run the ball, Miami's got some exotic schemes where they can get after the quarterback, and the Raiders are going to have some offensive line issues. If this game is 13-10 at halftime, I'm going to be a little scared going in the second half. I'm going to be real because I think Miami, like you said, they're going to be ultra conservative. They're going to run the ball. They're going to try to get in third and short. I don't think they're dialing up plays where they're going to want Brissett, holding the ball 3, 4, 5 seconds and trying to work the ball down the field on corners and posts and go routes. You're going to see a lot of hitches, curls, flats, outs, slants, a lot of things to get the ball out of his hands quickly. And the Raiders defense is going to try to do that. They're going to try to allow the ball to be thrown underneath, and then they're going to have to rally and tackle and get these guys on the ground like they have been. They've been doing a really good job, 3-4 yard catches. Once they catch it, get them down. So hopefully there's some holding penalties. If they get behind the down and distance, Miami's going to be in trouble. Like they have to stay on down and distance and stay on track every down. If it's 1st and 15, 2nd and 20, they're not going to be able to do much. That offensive line, and they're talking about moving guys around. Austin Jackson might play guard. The right tackle's hurt.
Mm-hmm.
The right guard might play left tackle. Like they don't even know what's going on over there. So we're going to learn a lot. Like I fully expect this to be a closer game than people online are saying. And let's just hope this Raiders team comes out and Gruden's aggressive early and says, you know what, we're going to try to score 10, 14 points right out the gate, and we're going to put the pressure on this Dolphins offense to try to move the ball. If this is a field goal game, because let's not overlook the fact Miami had the best scoring defense in the league last year. They played pretty well. They went on the road and they beat New England in week 1. Like this isn't the team that lost 35-0 last week's not showing up at Allegiant on Sunday. It's going to be a much better team than that.
And it's too early to see people like it's too early in the season for people not to believe. Like, you know what I mean? Like if this game was late in the season and the Raiders are riding high and they already got they got their 9th win and they have 3 wins and they're coming to Allegiant and they're just trying to make business decisions. It's too early for that right now. So the first thing I mean, it does listen, they were wrong on the lines the first 2 weeks with the Raiders, Vegas. But it does make me wonder that Jacoby Brissett is playing as a starting quarterback in a game, and the line didn't move. And the line didn't move with a team who, the team has a pretty good, have shown that their crowd's going to get after it here. This is one of the plays I pulled from the Bills and Bills Dolphins game real quick. This Singletary's his little scamper here. They kind of match up here and just do run a little power here, I believe. And then he's gone as far as that goes. So, they are an aggressive defense. So the Raiders should be able to, I think the Raiders are aggressive. They're aggressive defensively, a lot like the Ravens. So, and not the same kind of context, but like they are, I mean, they're going to be aggressive. They have, Marcus Peters, their version of Marcus Peters is playing this week. Like, you know what I mean? So it's not like they're going to be, kind of hampered by injuries in their secondary. Just got to be careful with the football. Derek is usually careful with the football, but he did have a fumble last week that the Raiders offensive line was able to recover. But listen, if they're going to win this game, I just take care of the football, obviously. But this is the game where I really think the defense early on, if I won the toss, I would definitely kick it to Jacoby and try to get that early turnover. Try to just have them kind of break them early in the first quarter, and then take it from there. And then I just don't see. I think the biggest thing for me is if Waller and Carr are clicking. I don't see a matchup here where they're able to stop that.
No, I don't see Howard lining up across from Waller consistently, and Cruden's good enough to where he can move him around different formations, different bunch packages, isolate him on the backside of some of these formations where he can get him one-on-one when he needs to. I don't think the linebackers from Miami are great in coverage. They're much better run defenders than Baker, and I think it's Van Ginkel is the other guy. Van Noy was their leading sacker. He's not on this team. Miami, the edge talent on this defense isn't great. I don't think they're going to be able to rush the passer with four very consistently, even against a banged-up Raiders line. So they're going to have to bring blitzes. They're going to have to bring pressures. Derek's been fairly good against those this year. They're going to leave those guys on an island quite often, and the Raiders are going to have to make them pay. And, Hunter Renfrow is going to eat over the middle of the field. I don't think they're going to be able to cover inside the numbers. I think Derek is going to eat between the numbers all day. This might be a game where you're not going to see a ton of balls to Ruggs or Edwards on the outside just because they probably don't need to. They can probably just work underneath with some other guys with Drake, Renfrow, and Waller, kind of like you saw in week one, and then maybe hit one of those outside guys for a big play when the right coverage looks are there. But to me, I honestly think this is a game where Gruden's going to go into it and be like, we're going to try to run the ball. We're going to try to establish it. They might not have some success early, and we might be looking at a couple punts the first, couple of series. And before you know it, like I said, you look up, it's 13-10 at halftime, and this is a game. So I hope they just come out, and I'd love for them to run the ball and have efficiency. I don't know if they can based on the personnel they have. But if this team is who we hope they are, this thing is 10-14 to nothing in the first quarter, and then we kind of cruise to the rest of the game.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice to see them get some, not have the miscues in the red zone as far as that goes. I mean, just being able to establish that. So they don't need. I mean, I know he would love to have five a carry, but they just need to be somewhat efficient in the running game. I think if it takes power, it takes power. Like I said, you have to improvise when you have to improvise and make adjustments when you don't have what you really need. And I think the Raiders can do that. They've shown that they've been able to do that. They are taking that first quarter. Oh, this is how they're going to play us. Okay, now we're gonna go attack how they're going to play us as far as that goes. The nightmare scenario. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say I have a bold prediction for this game. Zay Jones is going to play more than we think. I'm going to go out on the line right now. This is on record. Zay Jones, 4 catches, 60+ yards, and a touchdown this week. I just have a feeling that John's going to dial up some plays for Zay Jones. And he's been getting open when he's been in. And this could be a game where they try to line him up inside, and he's going to have an advantage against, the third or fourth cornerback on the Dolphins. So I think Ruggs is going to get a lot of attention this week. And I think that Zay Jones, there's something coming. We'll see it.
Yeah, it's funny though. In that game, kind of a hidden play last week in Pittsburgh is that the little 14-yard pass to Willie Snead. He was a step away from being gone on that play as well. But yeah, listen, Zay. I mean, I don't care where the ball goes, but as far as that goes, but I mean, I know some Raider fans care about that a lot. They care about is Ruggs catching as many passes as CeeDee Lamb, and where's Edwards and stuff like that. But I think one thing about the New England era that I did learn is that it's a lot of time it's opponent based. Like some teams the matchup is just not in your favor. Doesn't mean you ignore this. It doesn't mean you ignore that secondary and let them just eat lunch all day out there. But you have to, if you have an advantage inside, take the advantage inside. Take the advantage with Moreau and Waller and Renfrow and eat on that.
Right? No doubt.
Man, but makes the most sense there as far as that. Nightmare scenario would be like you're saying, 13-10. They're running the ball a little bit with what's his name, Gaskin, whatever his name is, and then they finally call a long one, and Jalen Waddle is by himself in the end zone. But I just feel like I know it's kind of, I think even Vegas is taking a wait and see attitude. But this would be a tough one for me. This would be a horrifying loss. This would almost like erase the 2 weeks of a really good play if they actually lost this game.
Yeah, I think, just looking at it, I know it was Baltimore. I know it was Pittsburgh, but I think if the Raiders can't run the ball again for the third straight week, and with how good Miami's corners and their defense is, I don't think the Raiders are going to put up 30 plus points this week if they can't establish any ground game. So hopefully they do. Hopefully they run the ball better. And I'll be honest, the run blocking hasn't been great, but the running backs contributed last week too. They missed some holes. So it's on a little bit of everyone. But having said all that, I still think that the Raiders are going to pull one out here, 27-17, something like that, 10-point victory, and be able to walk away 3-0 with a big Monday night game with the Chargers on deck after that. I know some of the comments are like, don't look ahead one game at a time. And we won't. The schedule's setting up pretty nicely for them here, but we won't look ahead. I just think this game's not going to be – I know a lot of people think it's 42-10. It's going to be a blowout. Miami's got no chance. Miami's still a good team.
It's too early. It's too early. Too early for that. So your score prediction is 27-17.
Yep.
All right, cool. I'm gonna roll with something very similar to Pittsburgh. So I'll go 24-13 here. And yes, Raider Nation, I've actually picked the Raiders this year to win a football game. Yes, I know the first 2 weeks I didn't, but I thought they would lose the first two and then go on a run and win a bunch of games in a row. But they won the first two, so why not just? This is where you're gonna see some picks here. Like I said, no homer show here. As far
they got 3 home games in a row now.
They have 3 home games in a row, and I'm going.
The Dolphins, the Chargers on the road. That's a home game. I'll be there for that game.
Which one?
Are you going to that game? The Chargers game.
Oh, I'm going to the game.
I'll be there too. So we'll have to meet up.
What's the link up? We'll link up. Do a halftime show.
I need a parking pass though. You got one? Let me know. Those things are expensive.
Those things, Jesus. Yeah. You might have to helicopter in the SoFi. It's something. It's crazy. Yeah, definitely. All right. Anything else for the fans here as far as the Dolphin game? Any last tidbits?
I think one other thing to look forward to, and I kind of mentioned this on Twitter as well the other day, Gus Bradley runs a lot of dime packages on third down. And he's been using kind of Dallin Levitt as that robber defender looking for crossing routes. He's clearly hurt after that big pass breakup against the Steelers. Teamer hasn't played. So I think this is the week. We might see some Tyree Gillespie play some defensive snaps. So that's something I'm looking forward to. Hopefully Mr. Gillespie can get in there and make some plays for this defense. I'm excited to see him play. And, assuming that he plays, but I think he's going to.
Yeah, I think so too. Anything from the injury report? I know we had the last injury. We had the one injury report last. I got an injury report right here.
I think the scare with Abram today with his leg. Hopefully that it was good that he returned to practice and was able to finish. That scared me a little bit. But it's about what we thought it would be. I don't think Jacobs plays this week. I know there was reports that he did practice, then he didn't, then he showed up as a DNP on the official. So I don't know if the beat reporters, saw him briefly. He had a non-contact jersey on, according to a couple of reporters. But I think they're going to let him sit out another week because, like you said, that turf toe is tough to manage.
Yeah,
and hopefully, another week of rest. They need him in the AFC West games more so than they need him this week. So give him another week. Let Drake, if you have to throw the ball around, spread out Miami, get multiple corners on the field, work your advantages, let Carr diagnose coverages like he's done the last 2 weeks and win a football game.
No, that's not. Part of me is like, I don't really care how they do it, but this is the kind of, I gotta give respect to the other team. I mean, they are a good defensive football team. So, you're one INT, you're one fumble away from this game being a legit game. But this is a game where I think the Raiders, I think I'll go 24. I'll keep my thing going to 24-13. As far as you mentioned Zay Jones, I think the player who I think this is where Yannick gets his first one. Gets his first one, or maybe his first couple. And with Yannick, that's where I think the Raiders can take over the game, because I think Yannick will be able to get that. He like you see every time they list strip sacks, his name is right there. Whatever the year they go back to, as long as he's been in the league, that's been his thing. he hits the quarterback and then takes that with him. And I think also in this game, this will be the first game where they actually called a holding call on whoever's blocking Max Crosby. This will be the first.
That is a bold prediction.
I'm going penalty as well too. It's for Tua too. All right.
So
All right.
just a quick Yannick note that I know you brought him up. So I was watching another podcast today with Daniel Jeremiah and Bucky Brooks, and they were breaking down pass rushers and get off times because they can get that with all the data. Yannick Ngakoue was 4th in the league last year in fastest get off, and this year he's 4th. And the other guys on that list are dudes. We're talking TJ Watt, Joey Bosa, Myles Garrett. So this guy's an elite pass rusher. So yeah, I agree with you with the way that line is in Miami. I wouldn't have stopped at 1. Like, I'm glad you went to multiple because I think this might be the week where he gets 2.
Yeah, he does. And like I said, he even on that. First of all, he's showing a lot being a gamer and going out there because he's not sitting, he's playing. And he really wants to get this whole thing with him and Crosby being a dominant duo. He definitely wants to do that as well. So that's kind of like the duo we got here. We got dominant duo right here, Raider Nation. All right. So see you next time. The Raiders, I got the Raiders 24-13. Ryan has them 27-17. So we'll see how that goes. And will the Raiders cover 3 weeks in a row, Vegas? I don't know. Let's check it out. All right. See you next time.
All right. Good talking to you.
Go.